tattoos? Ah, it doesn't look okay.
Hey, welcome back to the channel, everybody. Very happy and excited to be here as always. Got a great comment from one of the subscribers on this channel that I'd like to read and then discuss. Coming from Laura, this comment was, I wonder if you might be targeted due to your tattoos. Tangerine Travels had some interesting things to say on their live last Sunday about tattoos in Mexico. May went off a little bit on tattoos. She said her style is elegance, and it's not elegant to have them. That they're not really accepted if they're visible. The whole thing felt way too pointed at someone specific, LOL. And then Laura was kind enough to leave that live for us to take a look at. I'm the only one with tattoos, right? My wife doesn't have any tattoos. You guys see my tattoos all the time, and you guys know that we've been traveling around Mexico for quite a long time now, and I don't hide these. I don't walk around with long sleeve shirts. Back in the United States, I have been discriminated against by my tattoos. Now, was the discrimination anything terrible? No, but every single time I walk through an airport, I am not ignorant to the fact that I am randomly pulled over to be searched every single time I go to an airport, where my wife is never pulled over, right? So every time I walk through the scanners, I somehow get put to the side. And can I guarantee you that's because of my tattoos, because of my shaved head, because of these types of things? No, I can't guarantee it, but when you see a trend, it doesn't take much to put the pieces together. Even people that I know from the United States, when they see me in a suit or they see me in long pants and a long shirt, they see me for that. And then the next time they see me, if they never knew I had tattoos, but they see me with my tattoos showing, they get very intimidated. Now, I am not saying that that's what it should be, but I am telling you that that's just what it is. When I made the decision to get tattoos, I already was aware of the fact that even though I am in New York City, I am around a culture that accepts, for the most part, tattoos. It's very accepted in the United States, in New York City. Outside of places like that, you might scare people. I'm not saying it should be like that. I'm just telling you the facts. This is not normal. It's not natural to be walking around looking like a canvas. And some people's dark tattoos can be intimidating. Some people, even just wearing sunglasses, can intimidate other people. So I'm not saying that that's what it should be. I'm just saying, I'm stating the facts. That's what it is. So even in the United States of America, I have been looked at, until people start to get to know me, I've been looked at in a way that is kind of like, you know, who is this guy? What's he about? Should I get ready to run? Now, that's just what it is. Now, have I been discriminated against, to my knowledge, in Mexico? Well, when I walk around, you have a lot of people who will look at me twice. They'll look at me up and down. They'll see the tattoos. And then I might smile at them and say, hey, how are you? No, buenas tardes, buenos dias. And then they smile and they're like, oh, buenos dias. Are they walking away with a bad impression of me? Might they be scared of me? Sure, they might, or they might not. Now, I've also been hugged by strangers. Gracias. Thank you for being welcoming.
Buen día.
Adios. Buen día.
I really appreciate tourists.
Hola.
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 Hello.
Hello, my friend.
Hola, hola. I've been welcomed by multiple people. People walking up to me, shaking my hand. Complete strangers. And every single time these incidents have happened, my tattoos have been shown, right? I'm walking around in a tank top. I also like to bodybuild. So many times people are intimidated by that, right? So muscles, tattoos, shaved head, all these things can be intimidating to people. I'm not saying they should be, but I can understand why. I can understand because, you know, even like I said, even just wearing a pair of sunglasses could intimidate others to the point where they're like, who is this person? That's just what it is. Because we're not natural, right? We have things on us that just don't look normal.
I think that obviously when somebody talking about a man or a woman has a lot of like tattoos in their bodies, it obviously keeps your attention.
I've never once felt like discriminated against, like it was affecting me. Now, Laura left this comment on the video about me being pulled over by the police in Morelia, right? She asked whether or not she said maybe you got pulled over because you were being discriminated against. Even in that video that I put out, I said, it's very likely that my New York plates on my vehicle, my shaved head, and my tattoos, and obviously, you know, the fact that I'm pale white compared to a Mexican person for the most part, probably contributed in me getting pulled over. I mentioned that in the video. And of course, that's probably true. But before this ever happened, I've been approached by police just saying hello. Hola, buenos dias, waving, smiling, in many different states. Most of the time, I'm walking around with a smile on my face. Most of the time, my tattoos are showing. And most of the time, if I see the police or if the police see me, I'm waving or they're waving. So I've never once felt discriminated against by the Mexican people. Now, me and my wife are blessed to have many Mexican friends. People who are indigenous to Mexico. People who have been grown up here and lived here their entire lives. Not only that, but we also have family here in Mexico. So we know many hundreds and hundreds, if not maybe 1,000 different Mexican residents here who are our personal friends. And they've seen me and not even thought twice about the tattoos, most of them. But then some of them, they look at me twice and they're like, they just need to get over the initial shock. One of my friends who was born here in Mexico actually mentioned to me, but it depends on the town, right? So in San Luis Potosí, a very conservative place for the most part, that friend of mine said, yeah, most of the time when we see people with tattoos, what that means is that they were in prison. Now, keep in mind that this friend of mine is much older, probably, you know, close to maybe 50 years old, something along those lines. So the mentality of the people you're talking to and when they grew up, that generational mindset is going to play a role as to whether or not their thoughts are, you know, in a modern day era. Let me put it like that. Hopefully that makes sense. But he told me most of the time in Mexico, when people see tattoos, they automatically think jail or cartels. Now, this may or may not be true. I can imagine why it might be true. But I also want to tell you that throughout our travels in Mexico, we've been to many different places. I have definitely seen in many different areas younger people walking around in tattoos. Whether they're men or women, sometimes covered in tattoos. Now, I can't guarantee you that they have been grown up in Mexico, but I'm fairly certain that when you see people working for the most part in like a really industrial area, packing things off of trucks, working in the shops, very likely they are Mexican citizens. Not guaranteed, but very likely they're Mexican citizens. And I've seen younger people as well as older people wearing tattoos, wearing them proudly, not hiding them, walking around and not fearful for the fact that they have ink on their skin. So I feel like a very old school mentality in the United States, as well as Mexico, is that tattoos belong to dangerous people and that they need to be, you know, they're ugly, you need to watch out for people like that, they're not elegant or whatever the case might be. But as those generations die off or as their mentality changes because their surroundings start to change and everybody else is updating to newer customs, I feel like that's probably going to go away. Never once have I felt threatened here. Never once have I felt not welcome here. Even the police officer who pulled me over was very kind to me. So I can't say anything about whether I was discriminated or not, against or not, because I don't think that I was. I feel like he saw a New York plate. That probably played a lot into it. But you know, again, I've been discriminated against by U.S. citizens. I remember one time I was walking around and somebody mentioned that it looked like I was getting ready to beat somebody up because of my haircut. And probably the tattoos and probably the tank top I was wearing, right? All of it paints a picture. Unfortunately, that's just what it is. I don't walk around trying to look tough, but I do because of the way I look. So that's why a lot of time I'm walking around smiling, because I want people to know, hey, I'm not who you think I am. I'm usually in a good mood. So let me show who I am. And a lot of the time, I think that that's received very, very well.
I'm not against tattoos, and I have my own style, and my own style is elegant. So elegant plus a lot of tattoos definitely don't match.
Now, as far as May's comments in that video, as far as her having her personal preference, speaking about what she finds to be attractive, I don't find anything wrong with that. Mexico, by and large, is more conservative than the United States.
It's not super common to see a lot of people with their full body, like their bodies full of tattoos. That's not common. And I don't think actually it's like really 100% accepted.
I remember when my wife and I were visiting here initially, we said Mexico feels like an old world United States. Like Mexico feels like it's stuck in the 50s. That's how we felt. Many different places, they don't even have technology. Like, you're surprised that they even have a credit card machine. Many places, definitely not all places, but many of the places that we've been to. So we felt like they were kind of stuck in the 50s. That mentality is going to carry, right? So it is what it is. I don't think there's anything wrong with her opinion on tattoos. I feel like her family, her generation, where she grew up, who she's hanging out with probably has an impact on their mentality. But if she grew up in a less conservative area, a more modern area, we'll just call it modern for lack of better terms, a more gentrified area maybe, she might feel differently. So, hey, it is what it is. I don't personally feel like, to Laura, I don't personally feel like I was necessarily targeted against. We had Mexican citizens right near me being pulled over, and the ones that I noticed did not have any tattoos. So it is what it is. I feel like they were just doing random stops. They saw a foreigner and they said, oh, let me pull this guy over, you know? Many times, Mexican people come up to us randomly just to talk to us and use their English. Or just to talk to us and find out, where are you from? What are you doing here? Even if they don't speak English, if they're speaking in Spanish. But I've received so much love from the Mexican people that I cannot say with any definitive answer at all that I was actually targeted against. And as far as May's thoughts on tattoos and all that stuff, yeah, it might be true that in many cases people are hiding their tattoos, or maybe in many areas in Mexico it's not accepted. But I have not seen that. I have not seen that personally. I haven't. I've seen professional people in Mexico with tattoos. I've seen not professional, not, as far as work goes, not professional people with tattoos. I've seen tourists with tattoos. I've seen locals with tattoos. And it seems very much like the United States once you leave New York City. When you're in the New York City bubble, you walk around with tattoos all day because almost every single person has tattoos. You're almost unique if you don't have tattoos in New York City. Once you leave New York City, you're in another game, another playing field altogether, and people might look twice, people might smile, people might be scared. It is what it is. And if you have tattoos, you should have thought about that before you got them, honestly. I did. I made that decision. Yeah, people might be scared of me, but you know what? I'm willing to take that risk. I feel like it's the same in New York State and outside of New York and other states in the United States. I feel like it's the same. My experience has been the same as being in Mexico. You have some people scared. You have some people who find it normal. You have people who... I've never been hugged by a stranger in the United States, ever. Never. I've been hugged by strangers here. I've been welcome to my country, hugging me with my tattoos, showing me love. So that's more than I've ever gotten in the United States, and it's more than I probably will ever get in the United States. Anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts. Be safe, talk soon, catch you all at the next video.